Hey y'all. So I had recorded an episode, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, and I named it How to Move On, How to Process Emotions. And I thought about that over the week, and I'm thinking that this should be like a part two to that, because that was, if you haven't listened to it, I would recommend going back and listening to that. But it was a helpful thought, I think, but maybe not a complete thought. It was more of a part one. In that episode, I talked about when there are emotions that are latent and need to be processed, ways that we can do that, and why it is helpful, and how it can be helpful for our experience to let ourselves feel that. But I also have another belief on this that I think should be added as a part two. And if you hear the beeping or the train, it's because I'm at my office. So there's some noise pollution to join us today. So I think it's important to feel our emotions. And if we don't feel them, then they get locked in us. And we can they become obstacles, and they can get in the way of us creating healthy relationships with ourselves or with other people. But there's also the idea of maybe sometimes it's too raw to feel the emotion. A lot of times I use this metaphor. At home I have an electric stove top, and there's this cleaning material. I think it's called Cerebrite or something along those lines. And on the bottle it says, do not use this material, do not use this cleaner on the stove when the stove was recently used. Because if you use it while the stove top is still hot, it'll stain the stove. I use this metaphor with mindfulness practitioners and my clients a lot, that sometimes emotions are the same way. Like sometimes the stove is too hot, and if we try to clean the stove when it's too hot, it might cause damage, or maybe not make it sound so scary, but not be helpful. In other words, sometimes when there was very recently a loss in one way or the other, death or loss of a relationship, loss of a job, whatever, there is, here's the train. I don't know if you could hear that coming through, but got a little distracted. So when there's a loss in one way or another, if it's too soon, then maybe the flames are too hot. Maybe the stovetop is too hot. And if we go to address it or let ourselves feel it, it might not be helpful. So sometimes it's helpful, if it's still too raw and too soon, to listen to the intuition in your body that is telling you that it's not the right time. And that's really up to you. It's a judgment call and intuition within yourself to know, like, is this too much right now? I think we can run the risk of avoidance if that happens for too long. Like, I don't think it's healthy to look at something and think that it's too raw forever, or even for a very long period of time. But sometimes things are very raw. If you lost someone that you loved, either in a breakup or a death or a job that you cared about, very recently, this week, this month, it's okay for that to be too hard to feel right now. And it's okay to do something else besides feel that. Like sometimes a healthy amount of distraction can be okay. Maybe watching a show that makes you laugh. You're not feeling that emotion in that moment, but maybe what you need is to laugh. Maybe you need a break from that emotion. Because a lot of times that emotion is so present that whether or not we're sitting and consciously feeling it, it's there. And it is being felt. And sometimes there has to be a break. So I wanted to just mention the importance of balance in this. Balance of recognizing that sometimes it's important to feel, but sometimes it's important to give ourselves a break from it. If we're feeling great loss or grief or pain, sorrow, sometimes it's helpful to watch a show that makes you laugh. Not watch it for 5 hours or for 5 weeks straight and never think about your emotions, but it's okay to have some balance in there. So I wanted to add this as a part 2 to the episode that I did last week about processing emotions, and maybe encourage you all to find your own balance of what's right for you and how you can start listening to your own intuition, your own body. What is your body communicating? Is there something that is being avoided that needs to be processed? Or is it too raw right now? Is the stove too hot? And then would it be okay to give yourself a break? Something to consider. Also, in the sake of today being the day before Thanksgiving, I think it's natural for me to bring up gratitude. And I wonder if I were to go explore other podcasts of mindfulness and yoga therapists, I wonder how many people are talking about gratitude today. Hopefully it's something we can have in our lives all throughout the year, but it's nice to have reminders like Thanksgiving. So maybe a practice that you can do is stopping, giving yourself 5-10 minutes to sit, and in meditation considering what it is you're grateful for. Maybe just one thing or one person, bringing that person or thing to your heart, bringing that to mind, and just resting in the gratitude of them, that person or thing being in your life. Maybe it's a pet, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a plant, maybe it's a chair, whatever. If there's something that you're grateful to have in your life, seeing what it would be like as an experiment to sit for a moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever, and bring the gratitude of having this person or thing, the gratitude of having them in your life, bringing that to your heart and seeing what it would feel like to sit with that. So in that vein, I'm grateful for those of you who are engaging in this community. The audience is growing slowly, and it is nice to know that there are people that are listening. And I would appreciate it and be grateful if you shared with other people that you think would appreciate this, so they can join our community and hopefully get a conversation going. I invite you all to email me, james@themindfulplace.net, or reach out on the Facebook group, which is on the it's in the info description of the podcast. But yeah, I hope that the community continues to grow and that we can grow and wonder together. That's what this has always really been about for me, is wondering together. And maybe one day soon I'll do a podcast and explain exactly where that came from. And to be honest, I don't even remember if I've already done that, but according to my memory, that doesn't exist. So maybe I'll do it for a first time or again. All right, enjoy your holidays. Bye-bye.